Currency Wars 2.0, China's electricity, Yuan versus the US dollar. Half a century ago, the oil shocks gave birth to the petrodollar, a system that turned the US dollar into the bloodstream of global trade. Washington wasn't just selling oil security, it was selling trust, the assurance that the dollar would always be the safest currency for energy transactions. But today, the world faces another turning point. As oil gradually loses its central role, China is betting on something entirely new: electricity. Beijing's ambition isn't only to dominate renewable energy, it is to use those power flows to rewrite the global monetary rulebook. People often believe every barrel of oil must be traded in dollars. The truth is more nuanced. There was never a treaty mandating it. Instead, the so-called petrodollar system came from a 1970s deal. Saudi Arabia priced its oil in USD, and the US guaranteed its security. This arrangement made the dollar the reference currency for energy, and America's financial markets became the recycling hub of oil profits. In 2023, 88% of global foreign exchange transactions involved the dollar. Oil was just one piece, but it was enough to lock energy to the greenback. And if such a habit could once be built, it can also be broken. China today accounts for 2/3 of all new renewable capacity added worldwide in 2024. It isn't just building solar farms and wind turbines. It is also constructing ultra-high voltage UHV transmission lines capable of carrying electricity thousands of kilometers from Tibet to Shanghai in milliseconds. This raises a provocative question. If the United States once turned oil into the backbone of the dollar, why couldn't China attempt the same with electricity and the renminbi? Imagine a Southeast Asian nation signing a 20-year contract to import power through China's UHV grid with payments denominated in RMB. That country would inevitably need to hold RMB reserves to manage liquidity and exchange risk. That is precisely how the dollar entrenched itself through oil. And Beijing is already laying the groundwork. It has opened an RMB clearing hub in Brazil and expanded its CIPS system, a partial alternative to SWIFT. The first bricks of a power-backed monetary system are already in place. What makes this scenario more than theory is China's actual capacity. In 2024, the country met its 2030 wind and solar target 6 years early. The Medog Dam in Tibet, once completed, is projected to generate over 300 billion kW annually, equivalent to the entire electricity consumption of the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, Beijing has also tested the world's first molten salt nuclear reactor, a technology the US has yet to move beyond the lab. If energy becomes the new anchor of money, China is already stockpiling that anchor. The United States, by contrast, faces a paradox. Electricity demand is expected to rise by 30% by 2030, driven largely by AI data centers and electric vehicles. Yet since 2005, America's power generation has barely increased. States like Virginia and Texas are warning of grid overloads. The world's largest economy is operating on an aging energy backbone. And if America cannot even generate enough electricity to fuel AI, can it still hope to maintain the dollar's supremacy in a power-driven century? But let's not rush to declare victory for Beijing. Power capacity alone does not make a global currency. A strong currency requires convertibility, deep capital markets, and trust in the rule of law. The renminbi today accounts for just 5% of global payments, while the dollar remains above 40%. Capital controls, opaque markets, and political risks make many nations cautious. Electricity can be produced in gigawatts. Trust cannot. And it is precisely this paradox material strength without institutional trust that opens up multiple scenarios for the future. Scenario 1. Slow diffusion. RMB adoption spreads gradually along Belt and Road power corridors. Important regionally, but like the euro in Europe, not enough to dethrone the dollar. Scenario 2. Dual core system. The world splits into two streams. The West continues to anchor trade in dollars, while Asia and Africa increasingly transact in RMB. Global trade becomes like a river dividing into two branches, flowing side by side, sometimes converging, often competing. Scenario 3. Multipolar currencies. The boldest scenario. Electricity is just one anchor among many. Lithium, rare earths, even AI-generated data could underpin new regional currencies. In this world, no single hegemon remains. Instead, multiple poles of monetary power emerge, each tied to resources or technology. What we are witnessing is currency war 2.0. Not devaluation races, not money printing contests, but a struggle over who controls the energy standard of the 21st century. The dollar once prevailed because of oil. The renminbi now seeks to challenge it through electricity. And the rest of the world, from Brazil to Ghana, from Laos to Europe, will be the stage where the next chapter of monetary supremacy is written.